Jake Fromm. A name you've probably heard bouncing around one football discussion or another, but probably also because he played at one of the biggest schools in college football and appeared on TV a lot. He seemingly came out of nowhere when he stepped in to replace Georgia's previous starter following an injury. Now, Shannon Sharp once said, "You can't lose your job to injury." Well, tell that to Jacob Eason, who, you guessed it, lost his job to injury and was replaced by Fromm. So, at 6'2", 219 pounds, Fromm lacks the desired size that most NFL teams are looking for. And while his arm strength and talent has been called below average, on tape he appears to have plenty of velocity and zip on short passes and is able to get enough air underneath his deep throws to stretch the field. He's not exactly a burner, as his 5.0 40-yard dash showed us, but he can and will steal first downs if a defense lets him. What he lacks physically, he makes up for mentally, being a full field reader who has shown a consistent ability to change plays and make smart pre- and post-snap decisions. He's a good leader and an intelligent game manager whose range is a good backup to middling starter, but he will be scheme and skill position needy at the next level. But what's probably the most puzzling is his accuracy. Wildly inconsistent. He will make absolutely jaw-dropping perfect throws into coverage and then miss a wide open receiver by like 10 yards. But overall, there's definitely some tools to work with here, and whatever team selects him will have their work cut out for them. But if they're successful, he could prove to be a damn fine starter. With that said, let's dig into his top 5 NFL fits. But first, I have to take a moment to address some misinformation from my last video that I'm honestly quite surprised wasn't hammered into the comments section in all caps. In my top 5 NFL fits video about Jacob Eason, I stated that his father was former Patriots quarterback Tony Eason. This was inaccurate. While it's true that Jacob Eason's dad is a former football player named Tony Eason, he's not that Tony Eason. I mean, really, what are the odds that this quarterback's dad and a quarterback taken in the first round of the NFL draft back in '83 have the exact same name? I didn't know Eason was that common of a surname. And now we know. Now back to Fromm. Number 5, the New England Patriots. This one should feel a little obvious. The offense here is said to be among the most complicated to learn and I'd imagine almost impossible to master, but don't say that to Tom Brady. Whosoever wishes to take up the mantle of Patriots quarterback must be one of sound and sharp mind, with an accurate arm. Fromm has these things. He's got the football IQ to read defenses and make the right audibles at the line of scrimmage. But as mentioned before, his accuracy is inconsistent. That's where Josh McDaniels comes into play. As I've said in a previous video, McDaniels has figured out how to make it happen with some of the unlikeliest of candidates. I'm certain that he could get it figured out with Jake Fromm. Number 4, the San Francisco 49ers. I know. This seems absurd that they might want to draft a quarterback considering they were just in the Super Bowl and Jimmy G, but according to Colin Cowherd, the 49ers don't like Garoppolo's judgment. General Manager John Lynch apparently confirmed that they considered trading for or pursuing Tom Brady. And if that's true, then it means they may feel like they need something else or something more from the position. Also in that room are CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins, whom Kyle Shanahan has made to look like competent starters, but the Niners aren't going back to the Super Bowl riding one of those guys. So if decision making is the biggest issue they have at quarterback, enter Jake Fromm, whose strength is his football IQ and decision making. He would presumably know not to make some of those head-scratching throws Jimmy G is known to make. And when combined with Kyle Shanahan, who as we stated before can make just about any quarterback work in his offense, and the requisite weapons the 49ers have on the roster, you have a recipe for quite a match made in heaven. Number 3. The New Orleans Saints. Now I know we don't want to believe that the Drew Brees era could be coming to a close sometime soon, but it's happening. At some point in the not too distant future, Breezy is gonna hang those cleats up and call it a career. And I don't give a damn what Sean Payton says. Taysom Hill is not the answer. As great and versatile as he's proven himself to be in the last few seasons, he's not a good enough quarterback to replace Brees, and his usage in New Orleans should be evidence enough of that. I mean, how many teams have their backup quarterback serving as the primary gunner on punt returns? And by the way, he's blocked multiple punts in his career. You think Steve Young was running on special teams while waiting out Montana? No. With that being said, Jake Fromm would fit quite nicely in NOLA, with an experienced play caller in Peyton and a bounty of weapons to choose from. Not to mention, their offensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, has been a key figure in the planning and preparations of an offensive attack that has been ranked first in the NFL in yardage in 6 seasons, and in the top 9 in each campaign. During this period of Carmichael's tenure on the coaching staff, the club's 14-year streak of finishing in the top 10 in offense is the 3rd longest since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger. Additionally, Drew Brees has been named to the Pro Bowl 12 times, including this past season, while becoming the league's all-time leader in completions, passing yardage, and touchdown passes. Also, in 2019, under Carmichael's guidance, the Saints set an NFL record with the fewest turnovers in NFL history, with 8, as they finished the regular season 13-3 and captured their 3rd consecutive NFC South Division championship. Need I say more? Number 2. The Carolina Panthers. I know they just signed Teddy Bridgewater and PJ Walker, but who really knows what's going on down there? New head coach Matt Rule has taken the reins and has begun the process of rebuilding this franchise the way he did Baylor's football program. Under Rule's leadership, the Bears became the first Power 5 program to go from 11 losses to 11 wins within 2 seasons. Suffice to say, there will be structure. But probably the most relevant member to this conversation is their offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. Brady joins the Panthers after spending the last year as the passing game coordinator and wide receivers coach at LSU. In his lone season there, he helped quarterback Joe Burrow win the Heisman as the Tigers went undefeated and won the national championship game over Clemson. Brady won the Broyles Award as college football's top assistant coach in 2019, and LSU finished the season with college football's top-rated offense, averaging 568 yards per game and 48 points per game. The Tigers finished 2nd in passing offense with over 400 passing yards per game, while Burrow set a new FBS single-season record with 60 passing touchdowns. Burrow's 5,671 passing yards tied for 3rd all-time in a single season, while his passer rating of 202 bested Tua Tagovailoa's previous mark of 199.4 for the single-season record. Brady's passing game would be a godsend to Fromm, who would come in with the ability to read defenses and make checks at the line. The combination of Brady and Fromm could prove to be lethal, provided that the team's quarterback coach, Jake Peetz, is able to correct whatever it is that throws Fromm off. And while Peetz was coaching running backs last year, helping Christian McCaffrey put together a record-breaking season, previously he coached quarterbacks in Oakland, where quarterback Derek Carr earned 2 of his 3 consecutive Pro Bowl selections working with Peetz. So there's definitely some hope there. Now before we get to our number 1 selection, I want to remind you guys to like, subscribe, and ding the freaking bell for notifications because, come on, you made it this far into the video and I know you watched another one. I know you did. And if not, you probably will. So why not subscribe? So that you're in the know when new videos drop. Oh yeah, and some honorable mentions. The Chicago Bears. The Minnesota Vikings. The New York Giants? The Seattle Seahawks? The Tennessee Titans? And number 1, the Atlanta Falcons. Probably the most obvious selection on this list. In the past, we've remarked how Matty Ice is probably on his way out within the next few seasons, and after finishing 2019 7-9, second year in a row by the way, additions had to be made. This roster now sports an absolute treasure chest of weapons. Their wide receiver room has 3 former first-round picks in it: Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Laquan Treadwell. Their running back room is now anchored by Todd Gurley and Ito Smith. And they just recently traded for tight end Hayden Hurst. You know, the tight end that was so important to Baltimore that they used their actual first-round pick on him, electing to trade back into the first round to select Lamar Jackson. I'm not even going to bother listing the other quarterbacks Atlanta has because honestly, Fromm represents a higher upside option than any of them. On the coaching side of things, Dan Quinn has proven to be quite a formidable head coach for about half his time there, which of course included a trip to the Super Bowl that spawned the infamous 28-3 meme. Don't do that to Atlanta fans. But damn, this man has been swinging for the fences ever since to right his ship, even leading to the hiring of 2 former head coaches as his coordinators: Dirk Cutter as offensive coordinator and Raheem Morris as defensive coordinator. Hilariously enough, both of those gentlemen were the head coach of the Buccaneers at different times, with Cutter serving from 2016 to 2018 and Morris serving from 2009 to 2011. But Cutter is the one to focus on here, because over 3 seasons as the Bucs head coach, Cutter guided the offense, leading them to the NFL's best passing attack and the 6th best total offense over that period. And then, upon returning to Atlanta, yes, he was there before, his offense finished in the top 5 in total yards, passing yards, and 4th down conversion percentage. And Matt Ryan finished the season with 4,466 yards, including 11 300-yard games, a new franchise record, and tied for the 3rd most 300-yard games in a single season in NFL history. They're joined by quarterback coach Greg Knapp, whose quarterbacks have combined to play in 11 Pro Bowls. Additionally, he has coached an unprecedented 6 individual 4,000-yard passers as a coordinator or position coach: Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, Matt Schaub, Carson Palmer, Peyton Manning, and Matt Ryan. I have no doubt that he could coax the best out of Jake Fromm. But beyond all that, Jake Fromm is a local, born in Warner Robins, Georgia, less than 2 hours away from Atlanta. And as much as everyone wants to see Joe Burrow, the Ohio kid, end up going home to play pro ball, I think it'd be nice to see the same for Fromm, who has so far played all of his football in his home state. Wouldn't you agree? And that's gonna do it for us. I want to remind you again to like, subscribe, and ding the bell so that you stay up to date on all the videos. Especially if you made it this far, why the hell wouldn't you subscribe? Either way, keep the faith, stay safe, I'll see you after the draft, and thanks for watching.